Yes, good people. Big up to all of you. Appreciate you all finding the time to join the show this particular morning. Another Blue Morning show. More importantly, I do hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much. It's been a while due to a personal situation, but I'm glad things are back to normal now. And today we will look at address some news items, and then we'll get into reviewing the away loss to Everton at Goodson Park by 2 goals to nothing. And then we'll talk about Mauricio Pochettino's future. And I think we'll start with that because the news items we'll have lined up will be mainly about him. So sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. All right, people, thank you once again and welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another edition of the Blue Morning Show, specifically match preview slash Chelsea news. We have a lot to talk about, and hopefully we get round off as soon as possible. I'm not going to be letting the show to be going too long these days. Let's see what else we have. Mitchell Boyce in the house. Mitchell, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Yes, can't say I'm you can say, let me just leave it at any day above ground is a good day, but I appreciate you finding the time to join the show this particular morning, Michi. Yeah, Jeri Z is in the house. He starts with Poch out. Okay, Jerry, if that's how you feel, express yourself. But yeah, let's see. We have keeping it real at Chelsea. Big up, coach. Big up, my bro. I hope you're doing well. He says painful yesterday. The board better let Poch have his saying and power in the January window. Without the under 25s to avoid another youth signings and not ready for the EPL. Here's the thing. I think then. Here's what my argument. I'm quite sure Pochettino was well briefed. The road the owners want to take, and with regards to this particular project, I'm quite sure he before he's put pen to paper across the dotted line for becoming to become a Chelsea to become Chelsea manager. He was well briefed. He knew it wasn't going to be easy. He knew we had all kids. He knew even if we're going to sign experienced players, it would be sometime in January or in the summer, actually. But he wanted to give it a run. Probably promised them. He probably, most likely, promised them that he was going to deliver with what we have. That was why they gave him the job. They took their time to look for managers who are good at nurturing young players. But that's no excuse. And I'm going to say this. I've said this before. Anybody, if you been part of the Chelsea Perspective community, you'd know that I've always said that I know we'll do well. How well, I don't know. I've never argued whether we'll make it into top four. Every time I see or win the league, if I see anybody say that, I say, okay, good. But do I think we'll do that? I say, no, I'm not too sure. I know we'll, I still think actually by the time the season ends, people will go, wow, we did well enough. I didn't expect us to achieve a European place. Never did that. I was just saying, all I've said is that, okay, if we achieve it, I'll take it. But do I think it will happen? I've always said, nah, I never thought that will happen. But here's the thing: if you came into this particular season, even if we signed or all, you say all the squad players are all experienced players, experience from the perspective of how many games they've played and how long they've been at the top flight in whatever league where that was signed them from. It doesn't matter. The fact that we have literally an entirely new squad, yeah, that on its own, you should know before time that there's no way we'll be able to perform consistently. There's no way we'll be able to perform at the same level as Man City. Even I've said this 1,000 times, and I usually end it by saying I don't think we actually I don't didn't expect us to be playing at the same level, even as Newcastle United. And the logic is simple, and that's because they didn't make as many changes as we Chelsea made. And some people will still go back to saying Chelsea let all our experienced players go. Those players wanted to go. and they didn't perform. We were the ones that called for the club to do a clear out, and we did that. The clear out means letting those players that we thought last season didn't look as if they want, as if they wanted to be here. Call one player, mention a player that we sold, that you can argue with me or debate with me that didn't want to leave and we forced him out. I don't see any. From Mason Mount to Hakim Ziyech to Edouard Mendy, maybe Khalidou Koulibaly only. And that's because we needed the money to revamp the squad like everybody. And people called for the club to sell him, actually. But every other player, to Kai Havertz, all of them, they wanted to leave. Christian Pulisic wanted to leave. He didn't want to sign a new contract. And the club don't want a situation where they didn't want it to get to a situation where the only option they'd have is just to sell him for cheap. They knew they had to sell him at the time to get as much money as they got from him. Yeah, maybe Ruben Loftus-Cheek quite clearly didn't push to leave. Or maybe I didn't know. But all the players that I think a lot of people are mentioning, complaining that we sold all our experienced players, they all wanted to leave. And that, here's the thing. The truth remains, if we're being truthful to ourselves, we wanted to clear out, and they did declare out. Look how much they're spending. And it doesn't make sense for anybody to come. I know you haven't said that, to come and say that the owners, they don't want the club's progress. They just want to kill the club. How would you spend 1 point something billion pounds and your aim will be to run the club into the gut? It just doesn't make sense. Have they been perfect? No, they've made mistakes. But I think here's then another issue with Chelsea fans is that we're used to get it now, for lack of a better language. We're used to the reign of again, we got spoiled under the reign of Roman Abramovich, where hire managers today, a manager today, fire them tomorrow, win a trophy or two with that new manager, and then if they start faltering, fire them again. And other clubs like Arsenal, Manchester United, and some of Man City, actually, they're all used to being you could say they're all used to the normal way of doing things. And unfortunately, one of the first live shows we had, I knew at one point things would change. I think Bobby was part of that show. That was in 2021 or 2021, when I told them things would change in the future. And we have owners who want sustainability. They want longevity, for lack of a better language. They want to dominate consistently, and not. That's not me saying we didn't achieve much under Roman Abramovich, but there's never been a time where we dominated from a period of 10 years. It's always win with one manager, they start struggling, we fire them. And we weren't able to achieve consistency in terms of the things we won at the time because we weren't patient with managers. We fired even the managers that you could say broke records in the Premier League, such as Carlo Ancelotti at the time. So my point is, listen, it's not going to change. Even signing experienced players, they're not going to sign too many experienced players. Their plan is to work with what we have, get them to a point where everything will fall into place, and the young players will have they gain experience by such the losses we've experienced this season. That's how they mature. But I think they will mix it up come January, and that's because they want us to achieve a European place. Had it not been for that, I say they would stick with what we have. And not then it's only about time. It will only take time for the team to click and start playing as a unit. But if whatever you make of the situation, however you see the situation, I'd like you to first of all bear this at the back of your mind. We have an entirely new squad. And if you came into the season with Chelsea, expecting Chelsea to be playing at the same level as all the teams that I've mentioned, then you're not being truthful to yourself. Do I think we should be doing better? Yes. But I'm not too concerned, really. I didn't expect us to win anything this season. Maybe the Cup, one of the Cups, maybe. But in terms of the Premier League, I've always known I didn't expect to. I've tempered my expectations from this even before the start of the season, knowing that we have an entirely new squad. It's going to be a long season. How long, I didn't know. But I think by the time the season ends, we'll still look back and say, actually, we did a lot better than a lot of people expect us to do. But that's right away. We're moving from that. But nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. And if you're in the chat and you own a YouTube channel, you know what to do. Share the link to your channel. When I get to it, I if I have the time, I will read it out and ask people to go check out the YouTube channel. Big up to you too, Chelsea Aholic. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, but nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. BRZ, hi to you too. He was briefed, but yeah, he was briefed. But can he get a player that can help provide leadership and make a difference in a game? Just a striker. The players let go. Yeah, was fine. Yeah, I agree. No complaints about it. They didn't want to be here. Yeah, but a lot of people don't consider that. A lot of people just you could say they just want to talk about how we let our most experienced players go without us speaking about the fact that don't you can say 90% of those players wanted to leave, which made it even more difficult for the club. And I'm quite sure the owners and the managers and those responsible at the time knew fully well that that letting those players go means we're starting a new process, and that's going to take a long time. I didn't expect us to be perfect, but I to say we should be doing better than we're doing. And there are so many factors that, if you're being truthful, when you take your time to look at it, you can say those factors actually they haven't helped matters for us. They've compounded the situation. Had there not been injuries, you could argue that we could have been you could say better off in the table right now. But no excuses. We have to keep going and find solutions right now. If we say we have to wait till January, then we're in serious trouble. We have to find solutions with what we have right now. Otherwise, the chances are by the time we get to January, things will be worse off, and finding a solution at the time would be probably would be a bit too late. But I hope you understand my argument there. But nice to see you, brother. Did I read everything through? Yeah, I think I did. Good morning to you too, Mr. Jude. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join the show. Thank you so much for always being available to support the community. Coach, people are starting to call James be right back. He said right back, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them, and we're learning that he opted to leave the pitch, and that's because he didn't want to aggravate the situation. I commend him for that, but we have a problem. We can't rely on a player that hardly stays fit. And if anybody's saying if we get a certain amount, we should let him go, I don't think even Real Madrid that we've been hearing are interested in signing him, will pay anything sizable for him. That's because, the PTSD from their purchase of Eden Hazard, they won't risk any signing a such player on especially one that I know if Chelsea decides to sell him, they'd be asking for a premium. That's by the way. We'll move on. Nice to see you, Chelsea Blue. Keeping it real. Big up to you too, brother. Let's see what else we have here. People just having a conversation. We must hope to win the cup for our qualification in Europe. Yep. But let's see how that happens. What happens there? Hey to you too. I hope you're doing well. Okay. The talk of the town. Even if for the wrong reasons, but still talk of the town. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. We can beat Newcastle United. I'm sure we can. But it depends on who we have available. James is not available now, and you know fully well that we are way better whenever James is playing, and he hardly stays fit. So it's you can say I don't know how it's to say what comes to mind right now. Just give me a second. I'll be right back with you. So, guys, I'm alone at home with my boys. So yeah, they check on me every now and then. Not check on me. Come to me to ask for something because one of them isn't still recovering. But despite the way, people having good conversations there. Yeah, it's a weird situation for us. James will be right back. Yeah, I think rightly so. It's a fitting name for him given how often he's been in and out of the team. And Poch out for a non-yes man manager. Poch in if Ball is still wants a yes man. Eston, I think I get it. That looks like Brianni Yahayu 343 Dilemma Jackson FC Vivel FC. I know that's you. Yep, that person is a mod, so which means definitely that's you. Here's the thing: I think Poch stays until at least the end of the season, and we've also heard that the plan is to evaluate the progress made at the end of the season. And right now, in to be honest, I get it; he's not been perfect, but you can say if you sit down. Take a step back and look at how the reasons we've struggled this season. You could argue you can say yeah, he's not been perfect, but you can say he's not been the main reasons why we've struggled so far. I think if you know understand football quite well, you'd know that having an entirely new squad alone is an issue. The injuries we've had they haven't helped. There are other situations. That's not me saying he's the best we can do. And another question you'd ask yourself is this: if you sack him right now, uh, I'd like you to name if you advocate for the club to let him go. I'd like you to mention one good manager that's not going to be a yes man that you think if we bring in would do will if we go for will accept the job. I don't see too many. Chances are managers that are available on the right now. If they go for them, they'd ask for something that will mean we have to spend nearly another. You can say spend one more. You can say 1 or to 2 billion pounds more to get them the players they want. If you go for the likes of Jose Mourinho and Hansi Flick, chances are they say that on 150% of the players we have right now, and they'd be pointing at you can say the so-called established players, which I know will most likely wouldn't want to come to Chelsea Football Club, and it would take some convincing to get them to come. Some convincing in the sense of the salary would pay them, would probably have to offer them something special for them to say, okay, you know what, I want to play for Chelsea Football Club. So it's not that simple. Sacking Pochettino, in my opinion, will compound the situation. We just have to get him some experienced players in. Do I think he's a yes man? I'd say no. He accepted the job. My argument is that yeah, he accepted the job and he was well briefed before he put pen to paper across the dotted line to become the new Chelsea manager. That's why they hired him because they believe yeah he's like his you can say his reputation or pedigree for he's known for nurturing young players and yeah, but I'll leave that argument for another time, in my opinion. But I don't think firing Pochettino will do us any good. Any manager that comes back will start afresh because the manager would want to drill the players to start playing in a certain way, and that's never easy. So we will have to stick with Pochettino, and history shows that he struggled in every club that he's coached. But again, that's just my opinion. You have every right to feel like we should let him go. Do the two clubs give a qualification for Europe or just the Caribbean? I think just one of them, and I'm not quite sure which one of them. Is that a Tadbali walking as a mod on your channel, coach? You know who that is. Please go check out Juice YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Let's help him get to 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. Let's see what else we have here. The day Poch was signed, I knew we cannot achieve anything. I don't think Houston, you have every right to argue that, but I still think the fact that we have an entirely new squad is an issue on its own. And that hasn't made it easy for the manager, and the injuries we've had hasn't helped. If we're being truthful, so I'm judging him, and I'm trying the best I can to judge him objectively. And if you do the same, you'd see that firing him will only compound the situation for us. And I'm going to repeat myself again. Whoever comes in starts afresh. It's as simple as that. We're moving from that, and we have Tango Rido. Nice to see you, brother. I haven't seen you in a while. I hope you're doing well, and thanks so much for finding the time to join the show. Hi, Coach. It's been a while since the last time I got here. Sorry for it. No, you don't have to be sorry. You don't get paid for participating in the show. What if Chelsea and United swap managers? It will be even worse. In my opinion, we will have to stick with what we have until the end of the season. It's a good plan. Then assess then, because whoever comes in now doesn't change anything. I don't see and changing the manager right now. You can say will not even help us achieve a European place. It doesn't matter. Let the man believe me. I think we'll have about 3 more important players come back, be return from injury, and that will make a whole lot of difference in my opinion. I count Nkunku, I count Lavia, I count Connie Chukwemeka because I know a lot of people uh, still don't. You can say may have forgotten that he's a Chelsea player. I think he's an intelligent player, and the game against Liverpool, the first game of the season, showed how good he can be for us. I think we just need to be patient, at least till the end of the season. January, the belief is that the club will sign a few experienced players to help balance things out. Okay, if that's what you feel, that's your opinion. We need grandpa experience in a team. Signing those is easy. Get some in or on a free transfers. Maybe chances are getting such players will go a long way. Giroud, do I think Giroud would want to come back to Chelsea? I'd say no, because if you go to Milan right now, you'd have to pay them some fee to take Giroud because he extended. I think he extended last season actually. Let's see, Salam. I'm not sure what you make of that. I agree, coach. It's not Poch's fault entirely. Let me remix that a bit. It's not entirely Poch's fault. Partly, I think he's been a bit naive in his selection sometimes, or maybe relied on the so-called most experienced players. Yeah, let's say Stalin, for instance. You could say I think he trusted him too much. And when Constantin Dante would tell you, Stalin only performs once in after every 7 games. And he didn't seem to have registered with Pochettino himself. And look how well Mudryk did. Even though we lost that game, he was the only bright spark in my opinion. And he needs to play consistently. There's a good player in that Mudryk. He needs to play consistently, and believe me, he will make a difference. But let's see what the manager does. I think a lot will change. If it doesn't change quite a lot in terms of his selection, then maybe he really wants to lose the job. And if that's the case, then the owners should let him go and not even wait till the end of the season. But right now, it wouldn't make sense to let him go. Changing the manager is not a solution. It's just a repeating the same pattern again and again. Then it becomes a problem for me. I think they should let him finish the season. Then assess like we've heard that they plan to do. Did anyone see that a novice breakdown on Twitter? I don't want to see it, but the fact remains, see how you want to see her. The treatment is a Chelsea fan, like all of us are. Except what she does for a living is what a lot of people has a problem with. But that's, by the way, I don't want to talk about her again, honestly, and I hate seeing her on my Twitter feed. But people sometimes do share what was her reaction to games, and then you get to see it. Okay, needs some motivation. I even hate saying her name. Tyler A says smash the like button, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And quickly, I want to take this opportunity to appeal to those of you who are watching the show, and for one reason or the other, you're not able to participate in the chat. Just know that we appreciate you. You watching the show alone does go a long way. But we want to ask you for one tiny bitty favor to just take a second and drop a like on the stream, and that's because the likes do go a long way. The more likes we garner, the more the YouTube algorithm will be triggered to push the stream to more people who'd be interested in participating in the conversation. So let's move on to the next item we have lined up here. Mud End product was so bad. I wouldn't if it was you could say collectively was a poor performance, but believe me, I think he was one of our best players under there. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying he was so bad, in all honesty. But it will take another 2 to 3 years for him to be good. I disagree. Mudryk can be one of our, you can say, best players this season, but he needs to play consistently. We don't want a situation where he performs today, then the next game the manager would decide to go with Raheem Sterling and drop Mudryk on the bench. For me, but that's just my opinion, and I humbly, respectfully disagree. No, I think he's shown how good he can be for us. Yeah, he can create chances, But I don't know whether the manager has taken his time to drill the players to expect the cross from Mudryk whenever he makes that when he runs down the flanks with a blistering speed. Usually he puts the ball in the box and nobody gets at the end of the crosses. Yeah, you should have more assists right now. Had we been getting at the end of the crosses that he's put into the box, but that's, by the way, he's not been perfect, but believe me, he was one of our best players in that loss. Unfortunately, you can say yeah, but unfortunately for him, we lost. So it'd be difficult for a lot of people to look at the rewatch the game. I even agree that he did well. He wasn't perfect, but he was one of our better players on the day, in my opinion. And we have Wally Waldo in the house. So Wally Waldo, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you. Yep, it's been a minute. Hopefully, the case is that you've been busy. He says, I honestly think Poch isn't the problem. He's not. If we're being on, has he been perfect? No. But right now, if you're being truthful to yourself, it just doesn't make sense to blame him for all the issues with, you can say, with the experience. The problem is players that don't play for the badge. I'd say also that part. Also, I'd say no, that's not really the case. These are all young players, and the truth remains, kids will always be kids. The lack of experience in the team, you can say, couldn't be more apparent at this time. Why do I say that? Here's the thing: look at the games we've lost. Most of the games are games when you can say that I'd argue they probably went into that game so the mindset, it's 3 points already for us. Against the big boys, we match them to toe uppercut to uppercut, like Roger would say. But the issue has been the so-called games that you look at and say we're winning this one. That on paper we have a better squad than them. For me, it's a mentality thing. I wouldn't say they're not playing for the badge. For me, in all honesty, it's just kids will always be kids. We don't have enough experience to be able to deal with, you can say, certain situations in certain games, and that's an issue. And that will take time before we're able to do that effectively. The problem is players that don't play for the badge. He thinks anymore, and with how long the players' contracts are, I think they know they have it easy. I don't think that's the case. If anything, it's a problem for them in the sense that leaving Chelsea, if they feel like Chelsea, because we're struggling, if anything, they are the ones that are not going to like it, except if the worst of the worst, that you can say that other clubs won't be interested in taking from us. They're the ones that will say, okay, my future is secured here. But players such as Enzo, Mihailo Mudryk, I'm quite sure you heard already that during the last transfer window, the clubs were reaching out to see if would be interested in selling him. Yeah, there are players that won't like it. That's because they would want to leave, given the fact that we're not doing as well as they expected us to be doing because we're Chelsea, if that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think that's the case. I think they know they have it easy. No, I don't think that's the case. And big up to you too, Ajao. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Casado and Enzo look out fit. Casado, for me, I'm going to say this. Probably a lot of Chelsea fans, because we called for the club to sign him, were in denial. That's not to say he's a bad player, but he hasn't played anything close to a 115 million pounds player. Yep. You could argue Histon, and he doesn't read the game well enough to be a sitting six for me. Ugochukwu reads the game better than him. There are other, you can say there are other aspects where when you discuss, I realize, okay, in those aspects it's better than Ugochukwu, but in terms of reading the game, Ugo is way better than him. Casado, for me, and Histon, he's not good at beating the press. So he has a place in this team, and he's an excellent player, and I'm happy we signed him. But in that position, or maybe how the manager has used him, he's been ineffectual, in my opinion. He's done well enough, you can say, considering the fact that he didn't have preseason with us. But yeah, as a season six, nah. In my opinion, he hasn't done well enough. In my opinion, he's struggled. He still looks like, again. He's looked clumsy on the ball, and sometimes too sluggish, in my opinion. But I think when Lavia comes back, he's going to play centrally, and Moses Casado will be accommodated somewhere else, in my opinion. because he's not good at beating the press. Dribbling is not his strongest suit, in my opinion. There are that's not me saying he's a bad player before anybody takes it out of context and start calling me out for something I did not say. I'm just saying in that particular position, he's been below par, in my opinion. I can't believe me. You can argue in most cases when we struggle, the issues we've had during, you can say, the games that we've struggled have all stemmed from the midfield area, and for me, in my opinion, down to the fact it's not been fulfilling that role effectively. But that's an argument. That's a debate for another day, in my opinion. Need some experience in the midfield so that it gels better. That may well help. That may well be what we need. But the manager himself, chances are he has other ideas, and there's no way to tell until we sign those players. He's openly said we need reinforcements in January. But that's the least of my concern. The fact I'll still go back to the fact that he was well briefed before he put pen to paper to become Chelsea's new manager. So they gave him the job because he promised to deliver. I also still want to see man in January. Whoever they think will make us better, whatever player they think, if they sign that particular player, Chelsea will be firing on all cylinders. Let them get the player for the manager. Mudryk did better than the United game. Like I said yesterday, Poch is not the only problem. The team was not set up for instant success. It's as simple as that. The moment you have an entirely new squad, you're not set up for instant success. It's common sense, actually. Or common logic, for lack of a better language. The team was not set up for instant success. He has to add more experience in January, or we will endure long haul. Yep. Or you can say we'll be in for a long ride before things will all fall into place. If we leave our squad as is right now, things will get better, but it will take time. But if we want, at least by the time we get to next season, for things to be way better than we've experienced this season, then we need to mix it up with more experienced players, in my opinion. Not just experience, character is important. Because if you ask me, I say this team lacks a character a lot. That's one of our biggest problems, actually, in my opinion. We have character in the defensive area. In the midfield, do we have character? I'd say not really. A character, maybe Enzo. But in the attacking area, character-wise, only what's his name? The young man was signed from Manchester City, Cole Palmer. He has character, but we need more. Than just what we have right now, in my opinion. He has to add more experience in general. I agree with you. Nice to see you. Palmer, a shining light. Palmer also, he did well. For me, in my opinion. Michi, when you get a chance, share the link to your YouTube channel so people can go check it out. I don't have so much energy, a lot of energy to be reading quite a lot today. That's because I'm exhausted myself. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 19 likes. We should be doing better than that. These owners have ruined our club, just like Paul Winstanley, Lawrence Stewart, and these teams. And these team is the worst one. Okay, I support this club. From owners to directors to managers, and the players are bad. That's your argument. Then there are a multitude of reasons if you take your time to look at it. I don't think it's down to one particular reason. Where we are today, for a lot of stuff, you could go back from the Ukraine-Russia conflict to players wanting to leave and all that. Big up to you to the beautiful. Much love to you too, brother. I don't have enough energy to shout you out like I usually do, but I think I did my best. I hope all is well, and you are looking after my nephew. He's recovering. He's gotten better. Breeds are better right now. I'm happy, but myself got exhausted from not sleeping a few nights out of the hospital. It's not Poch and not the players. And then you're saying it's the board. Not really. If you go back to them, you could argue they were forced to do a clear out. We wanted them to do a clear out, and they did that. And after a clear out, you have to sign. You can say what you have next is an entirely new squad, which takes time. if you being truthful to yourself, you'd know that it would take time before they start playing as a unit. And when we don't play as a unit, we see disjointed displays here and there, which sometimes could lead to us conceding goals. So yeah, if you bring it back to the manager, you still use if you're being truthful also and objective, it leads you back to the fact that he's playing with an entirely new team. Or if you prefer to bring forth the argument that he needs more experience. So we're struggling for multitude of reasons. And if you follow Chelsea into the 23-24 season, expecting that would win the league, would achieve a European place, would be playing at the same level as Manchester City, Liverpool, even Brighton and Newcastle United, then you're not being truthful to yourself. But that's just my argument. This is their model. It is their philosophy. They employed these kids and are expecting them to kiss the badge and behave like adults. But they didn't deliberately go into the market and start buying kids. We did a clear out, which majority of Chelsea fans wanted them to do, and rightfully so, because a lot of players were sold didn't want to be here for one reason or the other. You can start from Rudiger if you want. He was you can say he wanted the sign-on fee from Real Madrid and all that, more money for him, and I don't blame him for that. But here's the thing: I think we should all be truthful and try to be as objective as possible whenever we talk about our situation right now. And the truth remains, sacking the manager right now will compound the situation. I'm all for giving him to the end of the season, and then we'll assess. And history shows that he's always struggled. He struggled in all the clubs. He's had a difficult start to life in all the clubs he's coached. So that gives me hope. But I don't blame him. And I have to say, this has not been perfect either, if we're being truthful there. He says that this is their model. It is their philosophy. They employ these kids and are expecting them to kiss the badge and behave like adults. I didn't expect much from them. I knew it was going to take time from start. Yep, I didn't expect too much from this particular team. But no matter how you see it, we at one point we were making progress, but right now it's difficult to say what will happen next, because confidence, as you know, it does go a long way in football. Losing can become as much as winning can become a habit, losing can also become a habit, where you see a team winning a game, just like last season. You see a team winning a game and out of nowhere concede two more goals to lose that particular game. That's how losing becomes a habit. And yeah, and that's because the lack of confidence is setting in. A low confidence is setting in gradually, and that's my biggest fear. If that sets in, yeah, it'd be difficult to turn things around, in my opinion. But let's see what happens. But I get where you're coming from. What to do with Reece James and Gallagher? Casemiro will fit this team. A Chelsea team. Can you be specific? What player are you mentioning? I'm not going to argue whether Gallagher stays or whether I think he has a future at Chelsea or not. If he leaves, it doesn't matter much to me. If he stays, it doesn't matter much to me. But right now, the bar is so low. I'm just going to say this. The bar is so low right now that Gallagher is one of Chelsea's most important players. I'm just going to use that term. I'm not going to say best players, but most important players, given what he brings. I think has helped the manager in times, you can say, at the times where we've achieved good results. Yeah, even some. So I'm not sure how else to put it, but I'm not going to say he's the best player. No, but he's become the manager's most important player, and that's down to the manager's preferred approach. Yeah, but that's just my opinion once again. Let's see what else we have here. Just like our club legend said, I don't recognize my club. Houston, I'm not even into. They have every right to express their opinion. And is he right? Yeah, Chelsea has changed a lot. Chelsea Football Club, we've changed quite a lot. So yeah, he's right for saying that he doesn't recognize his club anymore. Yeah, but you have to put. You can say the reasons. You can say consider reasons why we're here, where we are today, And believe me, even if we fire Pochettino and hire another manager, uh, we'll still struggle for a while because the truth remains we haven't clicked yet. We're not playing as a unit yet, which means the new manager will start drilling the team to start playing his own way, which takes time. So we might as well stick with what we have and weather it through the season and assess and see what we do next. I'm tired, really. I'm tired of this hiring and firing managers. It hasn't helped. It's made the situation worse. We needed to sign a captain and a vice captain too. Yeah, maybe they give them some sticks. They should improve. Let's see. We don't have players like Rudiger, Diego Costa, Aspi, who have the aggression with a proper leadership. And I'm hearing that Mauricio Pochettino is complaining about us not having, you can say, stronger players, taller players, and all that. To me, that's an issue. Gone are the days when we had a team full of captains of their respective countries. Yep, we had Michael Essien, Michael Ballack, just to name a few. Big up to you too, Mike and Newman. I hope you're doing well. Chelsea doesn't need a Pochettino to be fired. It doesn't. It won't help us. It will compound the situation. And let me ask you this question again. If you're going to fire Pochettino, who name one manager that's available that you think would take the Chelsea's job? They will fear any manager that wants to take Chelsea's job right now will fear that they beat in the job for just a few months and get fired, and they will not have enough time to implement whatever approach they want to implement. So it's a concern too. So firing Pochettino compounds the situation in so many ways. The new manager will start afresh, and the incoming manager also will be concerned. You're not going to get top notch. You're not going to get top level manager because they're not going to be sure whether you give them time enough. And chances are that's the reason why most of the top level managers aren't interested in becoming Chelsea manager, because they fear you're not going to give them time enough. Unfortunately, we've set that precedent that it'd be difficult to get a top level manager, in my opinion. All we need is 128 and a 33-year-old. Beyond the age, here's the thing. Unfortunately, it's commonplace to use experience and age interchangeably. Yeah, how old is Rich James? But he's one of our most experienced players and very experienced. How old is what's his name also? Even what's his name? Who else comes to mind in terms of when you talk about experience? Even what's his name? Axel Disasi isn't that old, but he's very experienced. You can say it's a bit of both, because usually you'd have to be at a certain age to have, you can say, to have played a certain amount of games. But I think we use that interchangeably to an extent where we think signing an older player means we have experience. We have to be mindful how we say that. Creative players, someone like KDB, who will come in and just inspire these players. In other words, you're looking for leadership, and we lack leadership a lot. We need leadership. We lack experience only, but not by age. Let's not say experience by age. We have young players who's played quite a lot of games. And for instance, how old is Declan Rice, by the way? Can you remind me? I don't think he's that old, but he's very experienced. Honestly, I'd make Enzo the captain. I know Gallagher has been at Chelsea for a long time, but I honestly think Enzo will be a better fit for the captain. Yeah, we're told that Gallagher, because he's able to communicate effectively with the referees. Enzo you can say he's not doesn't speak English. Even if he does, probably cannot communicate effectively with English. Maybe that's an issue too. Even Thiago Silva doesn't that much. So it's a difficult one, but I think he has that leadership. He can lead by example. And also, to me, he has that character, in my opinion. Coach, they were not forced. Koulibaly, Kante. Okay, Koulibaly maybe. Name a few. Just want to. No, Kovacic wanted to leave. If even Kovacic wanted to leave, I was one of those who wanted the club to keep him, but he wanted to leave. He wanted the fresh challenge, and we had to let him leave. Wasn't ready to sign a new contract. Koulibaly, yes, maybe, and the Chelsea fans wanted him gone, and I'm quite sure. Yes, then Havertz wanted to leave. Mount wanted to leave too. Ziyech also wanted to leave. Pulisic also wanted to leave. Mendy wanted to leave. I don't know how else, but I'm not here to argue that. That's the list of my concerns right now. Yes, coach, time is our greatest enemy right now because teams are taking full advantage of our process. The Premier League are poised to issue our 10 points deduction, and chances are it could be more. But I don't think. Here's the thing: if really the Premier League decides to punish us with a points deduction, I can assure you will be more than 10 points. But I don't think they will deduct points from us. I think they will pay a fine. 10 points deduction, and we are heading south. Here's the thing. Believe me, that's how I see it. If we fire Mauricio Pochettino right now, the situation will get worse. I'm not into his thing. Am I happy with the situation? I'm not. And you know quite well that I'm not because I love my club. But I've taken my time to think about it. Firing Pochettino right now creates a problem. And chances are, if they let him go right now, they'd go for Thomas Frank or maybe even bring in Frank Lampard as an interim manager. And you know what happens from there. So I don't want to let him go. I think he can turn things around. And if you're being truthful, and I'm quite sure you followed this game long enough to know that the injuries we've had hasn't helped. Yeah, and he wasn't the one that scouted and signed Nicholas Jackson. No, he wasn't. But where I hold him accountable is that he accepted the job and they gave him the job because he promised to deliver. Yep, he promised to deliver on the project. Yeah. So the issue is not that simple. Firing him and hiring a new manager, believe me, we will regret it. So, and history shows that he started life at all the clubs he's coached. He struggled. You can say weren't that good, in my opinion. Coach No Cap. I believe by the time we turn things around, we will be doing it in the championship. But looking at the bright side, at least we'll have 46 games to do it in the championship. It's concerning in so many ways, but here's the thing: I think we'll be all right. I don't fear relegation at this point. I think we will. We have 1, 2, 3 players that once they return to full fitness, they will make a whole lot of difference for us, in my opinion. Kuchila, what would happen if suddenly your 15-year-old decide? I don't have a 15-year-old, but I get your argument that he is the captain of the house and starts trolling mom, dad, and everyone. Wow, I'm not sure how to see that one really. For the second time, I saw give a bad long ball and then troll Mudrik when the cutback from Mudrik came, was unable to trap the simple ball to score. Houston, I'm going to go back to saying the bar is so low. The bar is so low that Mudrik is one of is Chelsea's most important player, given the manager's preferred approach, in my opinion. But we move on. Chelsea needs an Italian coach. They've been Italian managers. They've been actually the most successful coaches we've had, from Carlo Ancelotti to Antonio Conte, Roberto Di Matteo. Am I missing any name? Even Vieri himself. But we move on from that. Sarri and Zola too, and Sarri too did great in a very short time, but we weren't patient with them. We wanted them out, and they read the room and realized the fans went into what they were doing at the time, and he had to leave. But he's regretting it, and now he Sarri himself has said it that it was a mistake leaving Chelsea. We are overworking Palmer and could risk him getting injured by stubbornly keeping Enzo and Gallagher in the midfield. You could argue that you need brains to be a leader. Age is irrelevant. Yep. It's just brain. Yep. Age is irrelevant. That was the point that I was trying to make. Clearly, you've succeeded in getting me to read that before you came back to this. Unfortunately, I'm going to be, there's quite a lot. We have a lot to deal with. I'm going to be skipping a few of your comments here to read. The comments are from those of us here that I haven't read the comments here to get to the very bottom. We have quite a lot to address, some news items, and then we get to the match review itself. I cannot believe Chelsea fans are calling for the head of the coach after less than 6 months. Let's all suffer together. We need to suffer, but unfortunately, we're so spoiled that we don't know how to do that. And one way or the other, it has to happen. And I remember something my friend and bro, the Green Tuff said. It took was it 11 years for Roman Abramovich to spoil us the way he did, and it would take a lot. I think something to that effect to change us to learn that football really doesn't work the way it did under Roman Abramovich. Yeah, we need to suffer together. We need to suffer together. I get it. We're spoiled. We need to understand that what's happening, it's happening because we have an entirely new team, first of all, to start with there, to start from there. And kids will always be kids. Let's all suffer together because I remember most of them were happy when we got rid of our experienced player. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you said that one correctly, and now they're complaining. Gallagher just picks up too many cards, in my opinion. Coach doesn't set good example on how to be a good leader, and you can argue his approach comes down to how the manager wants him to play. He's asked to be, you can say, the one cleaning up after everybody else, and to me, he should be offering more than he's offering. Otherwise, he will only perform in certain games and look like he doesn't know what he's doing in many of the games, in my opinion. Casado is not a proper DM. I did argue that even before we signed him. It's more of an eight, more of a box-to-box midfielder than he's a sitting DM. I think Romeo Lavia will fulfill that role better than him. Ugochukwu reads the game better than Casado. And Casado is not good at beating the press. So why use? But right now, you can say he's the most we can do until Lavia comes back. I think it will be better off playing Lavia as a sitting DM. He's excellent at beating the press, a better dribbler, in my opinion. Casado has all the things that he does better than Lavia, but we need our players back before. You can say I'm not going to judge the manager too much until we'll have all our players available for selection. Then let's see what he does with them. That's when I start judging him. Objectively, we need to get Casemiro or Ndidi. Those two players, I don't think you'd get them. Ndidi, he's shown it to be. He's actually one of Leicester City's most important players. I think he has about 4 assists right now and 2 goals in the Championship. I don't think they'd let him go. I will come on record again to correct you. This statement that Kovacic wanted to leave is your invention, in my opinion. Can you give me a reference? Here's the thing. Can you give me a reference that he wanted to stay? He didn't want to stay. Did you go watch his Manchester City interview? Start from there. Go watch his Manchester City interview. Kova wanted to move on. It's as simple as that. And I don't know the reference I'll give you right now. Go watch his Manchester City interview. Yep. I think you'll find where he said he's been at Chelsea for how many years, and he thought something to the effect that it's a time he moved on. Yep. And Courtney saying when you cut away the root of any tree, it's only a matter of time before the tree dies. And that's what the new owners did, and now we suffer. Big up, coach. Big up to you too. I get your argument, but I don't think we should blame the entire thing. The entire reason for for us being where we are today on the new owners. To me, for being truthful, I don't think we should be doing that. Leslie played over 100 games in France, and that guy is even more experienced than Gallagher. You could argue that, and he did well. Played against the likes of Messi, PSG, and Neymar, and Mbappe, and he helped Rennes achieve a Champions League place. He's that good. Yeah. Hopefully we give him time, play him consistently. I think he will come good. Enzo and Gallagher leave the midfield too wide open. When they are not attacking, they leave Casado stranded. I'm not saying Casado is a bad player, but I think You heard my argument quite clearly on why I think he shouldn't be playing that for us. And Logan is saying process without progress is nothing. They made Chelsea like a key to playground. Look at our captains. No one takes us serious serious anymore. You could argue that. Let's see what else we have here. Villa fired Gerard halfway through the season. Look at them now. Chelsea's case is different. Chelsea's case is different. And the question I want to ask you, when Gerard was fired, how many new players did they have? They still have the core of the team. Yeah. Before Unai Emery took place. They had the core of the team before Unai Emery took place. They didn't make a wholesome change like Chelsea did. I don't know how else to argue that, but I get your argument, Tayo. Owners must change their way. Okay, 2 projects must be changed. Bring real sporting directors, not former club merchants. 3, stop buying unproven, overrated kids. 4, bring elite manager in given time. Okay, I get it. Unfortunately, guys, I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. I can't get everything here. If I try to do that, that's the only thing we do for the rest of the day. All the players wanted to leave because the small. Okay, what about to happen? They smell what about to happen. Yeah, but let's leave it at that. They wanted to leave, so we had to sell them. The struggle did start over under the new owners. The struggles started on the previous owner, on the Romance era. It started then on the Thomas Tuchel. We started having issues at the time. We ended the season before badly, and then started the new season where we thought, okay, with the players we signed, that things are going to be better. Things got worse. So I don't think, but people usually when they talk about it, they don't go back that far. Also, they were all advised to take pay cuts because the owners believes that there are some fraudulent activities during the signings. That may well be the case. And if you buy a club and you suspect suspect irregularities during the signings of certain players, yeah, you'd cut them loose. It's as simple as that. But it's beyond that. Let's not dwell on that. Actually, I'm going to move on. Let's see. I need my Chelsea back. It will take time. Desire Chidi Moke Mel Chido Kichugu. I don't know. If Thiago says he leaves at the end of the season, the perfect option would have been Jimenez from Atleti, but he signed a new contract. So okay, it's not going to be easy. Coach. We are 12th and we don't have a Tuchel's 10 points to save us this time. Yeah, which was why I'd say people who've been people that have been comparing what's his name, Mauricio Pochettino to Potter, they're not being truthful. You have to take out 10 points from whatever Potter had at the time. You have to do some calculations to come to arrive at a conclusion that I'll believe you. But right now, I still take Mauricio Pochettino over Graham Potter, in my opinion. Pochettino, in my opinion, is top 5 at the moment. That would be progress. But if he cannot deliver even that, then we are wasting time. Yeah, we have to wait till the end of the season, and I think that's what the owners would do. Except if as the season progresses and something changes for worse, the situation gets worse. I think they will decide to let him go. But right now, I think he stays. The problem is not coach. Rather, the main problem is owners wasting much money for young stars. That's an issue too, Abebe. But thank you, Mr. Abebe, for joining us. If any other organization made the mistakes that these owners have made, the organization would go into administration. They sacked Tuchel for Potter, sacked Potter for Poch, sold key players for youth players. But the key players wanted to leave. Are you not paying attention to that at all? I'm going to scroll to the very bottom, people who have quite a lot to get. I appreciate you all finding the time to join the show. Thank you so much. And Jackson is so yeah, I think that's an issue. Poch can only build young players in a club without pressure. He's going to fail irrespective of signings or not. Man has the mentality of an elite coach. Man has the mentality of an elite coach. We have regressed. Okay, you mean does not have the mentality of an elite coach? I'm quite sure that's that was what you want to say. That's what you want to say there, because I know I'm well acquainted with your opinion of Mauricio Pochettino. We move on. Let's address the news items we have here. People keep dropping the likes on the stream. The likes to go a long way. Do you think the owners would entertain, give some control to a manager like a Simone? I don't forget the argument, and I've said this before. And we've heard 1,000 times that the Pochettino will have more say in the next transfer window. There's no way you'd come to me and say they signed a player without Pochettino saying, yes, I can work with that player. I don't think so. So the list of my concerns is whether he has a say in the signings or not. I'm 100% sure that he does have a say. Quite sure the players were signed after he joined us. He had a say in the signings in the signing of those players in question. But I get it. You see things. We all see things from different lenses. But I don't reason like that. He's a manager. And I can't go back to repeating myself in that aspect. It's what I said that Jimenez signed a new deal, so I would go for Mbemba. There are other centre backs that again we've heard that the club that is interested in signing. I agree. Jackson has an issue, in my opinion. Coach, the foundation is rotten. Do I agree? Yeah, and it takes time to build a new foundation. And that brings me back again to the fact those players that were complaining that the club sold, we wanted them out. I think it'd be safe to say that at least 70% of Chelsea fans wanted Jorginho sold, wanted Kovacic sold, they wanted Kai Havertz sold, wanted Mason Mount sold, wanted Koulibaly sold. I'm actually only one of a few people who argued that we should keep Koulibaly. I'm quite sure 70% of the name one player, and I'll tell you, a lot of Chelsea fans wanted them sold. In my opinion, in the case of Koulibaly, he didn't want to leave, in my opinion, but others Mendy wanted to leave because he couldn't agree on a new he had issues with regards to the club that the new contract that the club wanted him to sign. Mason Mount at one point decided to leave. So if we're gonna judge the new owners, that if we're gonna say that the owners sold the foundation, let's tell ourselves the truth. We wanted majority of those players sold. Only one, I think, Koulibaly was the player that didn't want to leave that we sold. And chances are because the Saudis came along, chances are they offered twice as much as how much. I think they did twice as much, even if not 3 times as how much we were paying them at the time. If we didn't want to sell him, I believe that he could have asked to leave at the time. So if we should try to be, at least if we're speaking about the situation, we should at least try to be truthful to an extent that we realize, not entirely the fault of the new owners. You cannot build a house on this Osimhen, and then Nkunku will fail to if they come into this nonsense. The foolish man, but this house is upon a sand. You're using remixing a biblical saying there. But my point is, we have to be truthful. We wanted most 90% of these players gone. Loftus-Cheek wanted to stay. He's always loved Chelsea, but he could argue at some point because he'd seen the managers not playing him where he wants to play. He wanted to leave also. Elite managers are traditionally not yes man. Elite managers traditionally would not take this project from you. Yeah, if you understand, if you're being truthful. Yes, man, they are not coming to Chelsea. Thomas Frank and company are on the next yes, man. The list. We are dusted. Here's the thing. I'm not gonna. Okay, let me just move on. Which are we interested in? One. I can't quite remember the name, but I have a YouTube shot on that, but I can't quite remember. He's one of our own. His hamstrings are gone. Rhys James, what have you done? Big up, Coach Chat. Big up to you too, Glenn. Nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Why did Vivell leave? That is part of the answer to the problem. I don't know why he left. I'm quite sure you don't know. yes man mantra from top to bottom. Okay, maybe that's the case, but I don't know. And I'm not going to argue that's the case because I don't know. Regardless how everyone is feeling, we got to accept that we are going through hardship. It's as simple as that. Thank you for saying that. This season, even if we get the experience, everyone is talking about, we got more problems than we realize. And still gonna say this. I think I've said it before. Even if we signed an entirely 11 comprised of Messi, Ronaldo, if an entirely 11 that's very experienced as we want to, they'd still struggle because we have an entirely new team. Let that sink in. If there was one player who wanted to leave, Koulibaly manager was speaking to Italian clubs. You could argue he wanted to leave too, but to me, how I see that, all rumors. I didn't see any comment from him that showed he wanted to leave, even after he left Chelsea. He was thankful. For instance, Kai Havertz did mention that he had to move on. Arsenal came, he had to take the offer. What's his name? Covers something to the effect of he's been at Chelsea for how long. He mentioned during that particular interview, but he felt like it's about time he for a new challenge. Name them, all of them. You can say wanted to leave. He now wants a defender, midfielder, and a striker. What are we doing? It's irritating at this point. Here's the thing: I have an issue with him coming out. You can say swinging openly, saying he wants the reinforcements in January. I think he said that out of frustration. In my opinion, I still go back to he was well briefed on you can say on the direction that the new owners wants to go, and he felt like he could work with what they have. He promised them that he will deliver, and that was why they gave him the job. So I think he should be careful with whatever he says. Otherwise, he's going to lose the job. Even if the owners decide to sign experienced players, he will not be there to coach the team, in my opinion. I was in a stream last night, and someone posed the question: are Chelsea being reset to the pre-Roman era? Possibly. Factory reset, maybe. Yeah, possibly. The similarities in conference wordings aren't different from Potter. It's a brain washing exercise. Wow. CIA level. Wow. Kachila, it's firm and does not want to. Okay, Kachila. Okay, does not want to do any tapping today. It's getting interesting because majority of the teams is sending him opportunities one after the other. Okay, let's see what else we have here. The only guests who are not yes men in the games are Joseph Pep and Simone. Not too many of them. Experience for a coach that cannot instill a mere squad discipline. Talk less of a tactical discipline. We're not ready, and Poch has said that we are a mid-table club. Words are powerful. I didn't like that. I believe there's a coach somewhere whose philosophy feeds the type of players we have. Poch will need some transfers to get players that play his style. It's all about a player. What's that word? Exteriors, okay, and the right fit. Here's the thing. I'm just gonna say this. I don't think we should be these days is to be signing player because if we're signing any player, you shouldn't be signing player because of him, because he wants that player. It's they put head together with this player work. It's a risk because if you fire him, another manager will come in and say he wants his own players. So I'm not sure what to make of the situation right now. Also, we cannot keep sacking coaches. We soon or later run out. We've already run out of coaches. We've run out of elite manager, elite level coaches. In my opinion, we cannot afford to appoint another manager with no pedigree in winning trophies. But none of them will accept the job unless we change the model. Yep. So stick with Pochettino. Yep. None of them would want to come in because their fear would be that you will not give them enough time to get the job done. But that's why I'm going to go to Bobby. Bobby, anything? I don't know. Let's talk about the manager situation. A lot of people think the solution would be to fire the manager. What do you think, Bobby? Let's hear you. Before we start addressing the news items we have lined up, which is, you can say, dominated by Mauricio Pochettino, said this, said that, and Chelsea wants that and wants that in January. But let's hear you, Bobby.
Yeah, big up, coach. Big up. Honestly, coach, I am so there are a lot of Chelsea fans that I
Mm,
have started to disassociate myself with. I'm tired of the whinging, the moaning, the tantrums, crying, oh, this, that, the owners, yeah, yeah, yeah. These are they're just behaving like babies who don't understand the difficulties and the challenges that you go through when you're building something from scratch. This is a rebuild. This is the project. This is it. We're living it. This is what happens. It's never a smooth sail. There's going to be bumpy rides. There are going to be lost matches. It happens. You cannot build a team from scratch and new players and everything will be smooth sailing. We were never ready for the season. Why? Because of injuries. Oh, more than half the team was out injuries. All our key players out injured. They're still out injured. What I say right now, as far as Reece James and Ben Chilwell is concerned, forget about them. I don't even count them anymore. Reece James, his body, and Ben Chilwell, his body will always let him down and inadvertently let the team down. So we've got to plan for being without them. As far as I'm concerned, when they come back, they become bench players, both of them, because they can't be relied upon to play back to back games. And that really affects the team because they're so key. Nkunku, goodness knows, where is he? Nobody's even seen him since the beginning of the season. We haven't seen Lavia. Carney's been away for whatever. Brozier's still coming back from injury. He can't play a full 90 minutes. We have injured players into a new team. People like Caicedo had no preseason. His preseason was embroiled in a transfer saga. He
mm,
came into a new team. Everything is new. I have written off this season. This season is a bedding in season. My prayer is that we just survive and be in the Premier League. But thinking of this, that, and the other, if we're lucky by some miracle, we may be able to fluke it and win a cup. But I am not expecting anything. Nobody should expect anything. What we have done has been the impossible. Teams like Tottenham and so on, they have one or two injuries. Even the mighty Man City, they have one or two injuries with an established team and they start losing games. Not to mention Chelsea that have never had a team. We've never had a team for the season. They've all been injured and all of them are new. So what do you expect? Many of them, they're not only new in their football careers, they're new to the Premier League. The manager's new. The ownership is new. We are going to go through this. I've been supporting Chelsea for decades. I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. I've seen what happens when you're rebuilding. In the 80s, I saw fledglings of it in the 70s and certainly in the 90s. And we were not even financially as powerful then. It's never easy. You're going to have these sort of performances. All we have to do is look at how we can improve and be patient. Patience. Sack this, sack that, sack the other is going to do nothing for us. The club took the direction of getting young players to reduce the wage bill because of FFP. They were slightly hamstrung. So all these people saying, "Oh, we should go for this and that, experience that and that." No, we won't, because it's going to cost money in wages. Look at what Sterling is costing us in wages. All these older, experienced players cost money in wages. So we decided to go the route of talented youth, and it takes time. they're going to take time because they're learning, they're getting experience, they are immature. And this is what we're experiencing, a lot of immaturity, knowing how to deal with a team like Everton, who allows you all the ball and sits and waits and knows how to win. And you do all the playing, they do all the winning. This all comes with football savvy, not just from the manager, but from the players on the pitch. Who knows when we'll see Nkunku? Who knows what we're going to do with our left and right back situation? Because definitely, I think we need to do something, because I think that affects us. Our midfield is good. Our midfield is okay. And the midfield actually outplayed Everton yesterday. It was the attack. I don't even blame the defense. It was the attack that caused it. If you don't score goals, you embolden the opposition and you can't win games. So this is where the problem is and where the improvement has to be. So all this panicking, doom and gloom. I'm reading somewhere people saying, "Oh, crisis! Oh, Chelsea are in crisis." Look, when you've had something and then you go and start to build again. You lose it and you have to go and build again to have something again. It's difficult because you know what it's like to be in the good times, other than when you've never had anything and you're building to get to have something. It's easier because you don't know what it's like at the top. So it's a journey and you're used to that struggle and that journey. What Chelsea is going through is difficult because it has a fan base that has been spoiled with success. And so they're thinking, oh, we should be winning games. We should be battling for the Premier League in the first season with a whole new team. None of them ever played together. All of them very, very young players. Oh, that's all right. We're Chelsea, so we should be up there. No, every team in the league has improved. Even Pep Guardiola has said that. And we're starting not only from scratch, but on the back foot with a team that was never complete, never ready, always patching things up, even right from the beginning because of an incredible amount of injuries. And now the poor team is getting pressured from the fan base. Oh, you're under pressure. Oh, you're in crisis. Pochettino out. Oh, relax. Do me a favor. For God's sake, get real. Chill, be patient. Yes, the team's going to lose. They played well, but they're learning. Just pray that they can stay in the league and they can learn and get integrated this season. Lower your expectation. All this panicking, attacking, abusing, insulting people that have invested their time, money, and effort. They're trying their best. They have a plan, but plans need time to be executed. What is this? What kind of people have we got supporting this club these days? It's insane. I keep going on platforms, especially on X, and it's laughable. Some of the things I'm hearing. I was on one the other, last night with Max, and we were both trying to talk to them. And after a while, yeah, we spoke, and they still revert back to this tantrum throwing. Max left, and eventually I left. I just told the host, listen, the guy that's talking is ranting. He's repeating himself over and over again, and all he wants to do is rant. There was even one platform, they told me, oh, if you're coming here to be positive, we don't want anybody positive. We just want people here that are going to be insulting the club and speaking something ridiculous like that. So I said, okay, thank you very much, and I left. I mean, come on. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's critical reasoning, and there is just with all due respect, stupidity. And the reality is, at the moment, we are a mid-table team. We are a struggling team. We're a young team. We're a team getting used to playing with each other. We're coming up against more physical, more determined, more integrated, better rehearsed teams. And we're learning. And that's going to be our journey for this season. So hang on to your hats. Pray for the team that we don't get humiliated too many times. I know there are going to be times where they're going to do us proud vis-a-vis, like against Liverpool and against Man City, and may those times continue to be more regular. And may we finally start to get these injuries back, which, by the way, because they're just coming back from injuries, all those thinking that Nkunku is going to be the new Messiah, he is probably going to take the whole season getting match fit. So he's just coming back from lack of fitness to be fit. So I'm not really expecting too much from him other than just coming and helping the team. That's all I have to say about this.
All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Let's involve those in the chat in the conversation. It won't be Nkunku that will be the key. It's Lavia. I think I agree. And I'm going to say this. I've said this before. As much as I think that Moses Casado is good, I think he hasn't done well in that role, well enough, in my opinion. We could be better and had even better chances that those games we've lost, we're not going to lose them. Because most of the issues we've heard, you can say, stemmed from lack of proper protection from the midfield area, especially when we have
Good.
Thiago Silva on.
Caicedo is going to take the season to get
I know,
used to the team and to find his rhythm.
I know that,
So, all of them
and I've
are.
said that before. But go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, and all of them
Go ahead.
are. All of them. Jackson, all of them. This is a season they will need to find their rhythm, get used to the league, know the teammates. This is where we are. This is our reality. So, all this talk of thinking that we can suddenly transport this team, transport the manager, transport everybody, and bring in all this great, grand, glorious Roman Abramovich, early Roman Abramovich type players. It's not going to happen. This is the way we've chosen. This is the way we're going. We've got to stick with it because I personally believe eventually this is going to work. But it takes time. Rome was never built in a day. Neither will this Chelsea football rebuild happen in a day. We have to go through a journey, and this is the journey right now.
All right, thank you. Let me just let's involve those in the chat in the conversation. This is saying it won't be. Yeah, Lavia will be the key, and I've explained that. To me, Lavia will fulfill that role better than Moises Caicedo. Caicedo is more of a box-to-box midfielder than I get it. You can call him a DM, but we need a DM that's capable of beating the press, and he doesn't even read the game very well. That's not me saying he's a bad player. I'm glad we signed him. He will come good and he will become one of the best midfielders in the whole world. But once Lavia is back, I'd rather Lavia be the sitting six there because he's better at beating the press, playing out from the back. Caicedo sometimes with so much pressure, he loses with a little pressure. Actually, he loses ball and not good at beating the press. So, but there's little the manager can do. The manager can't do otherwise. Right now, he's the first choice. Bobby, while I share your thoughts, a complete rebuild in 12 months wasn't necessary, but did they choose to do that deliberately? No. We've talked about that 1,000 times, and we don't have too much time. So I want us to be quick this morning, and that's why I'm going to be skipping a lot of comments there so that we can get to items we have lined up. They didn't intentionally decide to start a rebuild. And I'm quite sure there were a few of those players that we sold that you, Vic, wanted them to sell. And probably they didn't want to sell them, but the players themselves probably read the room and sensed that Chelsea players didn't want them that much and wanted to leave. Let's start from there. But we cannot go back now. So we forge ahead. It's as simple as that. Going back will make it worse. If we're being truthful.
Coach, can I quickly add this to one reality to this situation that
ahead,
all
Bobby.
of a sudden everybody wants to forget? We had to keep an eye on FFP. All these players that all of a sudden everybody's in love with, and when they were here last season were the runt of the litter. These players were looking for exorbitant increases in their wages. The wage bill that was already high would have been through the roof had we been giving people like Mason Mount and Kai Havertz 300k a week plus. Where would it end? They'll have the next person knocking on the door for an increment. Next person knocking on the. It had to be checked, and they did the right thing. They got youngsters on long contracts that can incrementally build up to increasing wages, but depending on their performances and the success of the team, they have done the right thing. All we have to do is go through the the growing pains, the teething pains, if you like, that it takes to develop a team from scratch in that way. So all these people talking about, oh, we shouldn't have done this, we shouldn't have done that. Yes, we should. Have you forgotten how those guys were playing last season? Have you forgotten that they actually dropped down tools in many games and were more or less throwing games? Isn't it funny how fans now think that these guys were all sparkling, all glittering last season? They were sending the team to relegation, lest we forget. So I'm not buying that one at all. We had no choice,
Hello,
as you
hello, good morning.
said,
I wanted to
other
add
than to
something
Yeah,
bring
good
when you
it
morning
just.
to you,
into.
Francis. Francis, I'll come to you as soon as possible.
All
We
right.
have a lot to catch
So
up with in this. I know you're on the
I've,
panel.
I've
Let me
finished.
just catch up now, please. Um,
I've dropped
let's
now.
see.
Sorry.
I can. Yeah. Okay. No worries, Bobby. I cannot wait to see the same energy. We're losing to Bristol City and getting pummeled by Plymouth Argyle and the Breach. Okay, at the Breach. Okay, we'll see. Wake up and smell the relegation. Right now, I don't think that's the least of my concerns, really. And please, if you can help me go watch this video, it's just 19 seconds. Go watch it or drop a like on it to help me reach more people with that. It's about the stadium project. We all knew signing Potter was a mistake. This is not our first season into this rebuild. It's due to them messing up behind the scenes that was still going down. Yeah, the creek, whatever you say, creek. You could argue that, but I think before the issues we had, I'm quite sure lots of us were screaming that we're back against how well we did against Liverpool, how well we did against Arsenal, how well we did against certain teams we played this season. Yeah, we've seen progress. We've seen, had it not been the fact that we've not been clinical in front of goal, we'd be sitting much higher in the table. On the table, let's be honest to ourselves. But right now, it's easy to go back to finding, you can say, try to find who to blame because we're struggling now. And you can't just turn around and say the manager is the sole reason why we're struggling. If you're being truthful, you can say, well, Arsenal of old. And wouldn't you want to be Arsenal of the current Arsenal, given where they are on the table? If we're being truthful, can we be really good? It's a possible, mathematically still possible. Do I think that will happen? I'd say no. Not that bad yet. Yet it's so possible this season. Don't be deluded, my people. Spent 1 billion on youth. The 1 billion wasn't spent only on youths. If we're being honest here, we signed certain players that we signed and left. Those counts. They count them all together. Undertaker is saying there's way back for Poch. He's in trouble. There's no way for okay. Your one liner and welcome again, Mr. Undertaker. Phil is okay. Okay, Phil is a different person. Sorry. City and Liverpool went through a rebuild, but never went down as far as 12th position. Also, they never buy full squad of babies. Okay, let's leave it at buying full squad because I'm gonna tell you this. Even if we signed 22 players, all experience, you still be seeing days where we struggle like this. And I remember JC saying, after one of those games, one of the games we lost, that we still more of. You can say games where would be so disappointed, and his only prayer at the time, hopefully, it's not going to be as bad always. Yeah, if that makes sense. City and Liverpool, I get it, but we're not being truthful here to some extent. How can you say this while our owners are still looking for children instead of unproven players? Here's what advice I have for you. Do you think we're signing the 16-year-old to become part of the team? There's also a rule that says they have to be 18 before they even play for Chelsea. So have you considered that? We're not signing them to be part of the team. Even if Chelsea decide to sign experienced players in January, which I think they will, the fact remains they'll still be signing young talents. And this is something that Real Madrid have been doing for years. Yeah, it's a strategy. That doesn't mean the 16-year-olds or 15-year-olds will all come and become part of the first team. No. And okay, go check on Twitter right now, or X, if that's the name you prefer to call it. People are there complaining that Chelsea pulled out from paying £60 million for Endrick. And had Chelsea signed Endrick and is part of this team, the club complaint would still be that we signed a lot of kids, babies, and that's why we're struggling. So you're dumped if you do, you're dumped if you don't. And I'm glad we put that. I'm glad we didn't pay £60 million for Hendrick. And you understand my point. So we just have to weather this out. It's things that are not going to change overnight, whether we like it or not. This is saying you cannot do a rebuild with a backdrop of a transfer ban, government sanctions, a war, hostile takeover, refereeing agenda, club sale, board manager and player sackings, called back. You can say back timing. Here's the thing. Things will fall into place. It will take time. Let me just leave it at that. And the fact remains, I'm quite sure if we start winning tomorrow, you will enjoy yourself and will not be complaining that much, because I've seen you, even a particular game, that during that game we were happy. The first half we were excellent. Then we ended up losing that game. So this is something I've always expected. We're not going to be consistent for a while. And that's because we have an entirely new squad. Yep, it will take time, which means you'd see disjointed displays here and there, or mix up in our midfield or defensive area that will lead to us conceding goals. And the injuries hasn't helped too. The injuries we've had, they haven't helped us. They've compounded the situation. But that's why, anyway, we're 12th. Yeah, he has every right to express his opinion there. So I'm going to scroll to the very bottom and I'll try to get your subsequent contributions. We have a lot to deal with this particular morning. Let's say you just see, I think the topic simply is now Pochettino. Yeah, I think we agree. We failed to establish any short-term plan for an elite manager. We completely lost the plot. You can argue that's the case. You cannot overlook that beef tongue. It's delicious, but it takes hours to cook. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Jeri Z, what do you make of the Pochettino situation? Let's hear you, since that's you can say what those in the chat, and a lot of the fans want to talk about. But let's hear you.
Good morning, Coach. Good morning, Bobby.
Good morning to you too.
First of all, how is your son? I hope everything is good right now.
He's way better. We continue the treatment at home.
Yeah.
Please take care. Hope he will be fine as soon as possible. So we all praying for him. This situation is very complex, right? I mean, Pochettino's situation, and everyone in this community knows me. Like, I've been very vocal about my support for Pochettino, and since I believe last night or even after Manchester United game, I'm like calling for him to be sacked in a way, right? So let me explain. Some people are confused what happened, like why this turn. So not necessarily this is my view, right? What I say is basically I try to analyze. For example, my mentality is if I'm working, someone asks me for a recommendation, then I take a view, right? I take a holistic view and approach what can be done. Personally, I would give him time. I'm still saying that. Personally, I would give him time. But let me explain, like it will take me a few minutes to explain because it's not that straightforward. What I'm seeing right now is that there is a huge division, and now if we don't have the exact data, but we can see like more than half of the fan base are already against him, right? They are already contemplating and tweeting and discussing. Like, it's not just one or two, it's humongous, right? The amount of posts and discussion who should be the next manager. So I'm just looking at it as in a situation that in a reality, right? I'm not ignoring that. I know, I mean, it will be a repetition with the injuries. I know, I understand, Bobby understand, you understand, maybe Roger understand, few other people understand, but the Chelsea fan base as a whole is not understanding, right? When I first started and came to your channel and behind the scene, I'm just saying that behind the scene, I was talking to you. My approach was to educate the fans. I was always telling you that I should go in an autocratic style. I have a certain mindset and I will say that. And I'm not complaining, but you told me it will not work. You should change your way. You should be more inclusive. Generally, I'm a very inclusive person, by the way. But it's not about inclusive. It's about being very strong in your opinion. But when I started, because of the requirement, I would believe I amend my ways and I became very, very, very flexible. and most of the views are probably not even mine, right? The thing is that owners will not go away, right? That's a fact. The structure, the model will not go away. So if things will not work out, if the results will not improve, it's obvious that the manager is the one who will be on target. He will be the center of attention, and he will get the sack. I hope not. I will still say I hope not. Personally, of course, I am very disappointed in Pochettino, because if I supported him, I'm still like, if he's here, I will support him, right? I expected a lot, even with the injuries, I would say, even with all these injuries, with all the reasons that we have mentioned over and over again in the last few weeks, months. I think if we have to be very fair, this is still like underperformed. We should have done a lot better, I would say, as far as points accumulation is concerned. So the thing is, even if we agree, we understand in the rational way that it's not a good idea to sack Poch, get another manager, but the fan base will not understand that, right? So I'm not even saying that to just to take this abrupt decision just based on the fan base, but it's a reality. The input matters, right? Let's say hypothetically, if we lose against Sheffield United at home next weekend, then it's difficult for Pochettino to stay, right? The only thing, having said all of that, the good thing is that the good thing that might happen from now, because I think this is the rock bottom. I don't think so it will get any worse. It's a great opportunity for Pochettino, because I don't think so he's sacked as of yet. So I believe he will get the Sheffield United game and probably more games. So it's a great opportunity, although we can always argue that they are low block teams, but the run of games we have on paper, they are perfect games right now for Chelsea to make a comeback. So if Pochettino can turn this around, we are talking about the recruitment in January. January is still very far away. We have, 4-5 games, including the Newcastle Cup game. If it will not improve, then it will become very difficult. Come on, how can we really, with all the logical reasons, support Pochettino? Because it will be difficult for the fan base, the hardcore Chelsea fan base, to accept him. And it's a fact that he has the Tottenham tax on his shoulders, right? So I'm talking about the fact that, as I said, it's not my personal opinion. I still think he can turn this around based on the 7 years he spent, 2 in Southampton and 5 at Tottenham. And I'm not going to discuss the reasons. We all know the injury, the new squad, XYZ. But now it's becoming more of an excuse. Should do better, I would say, right? And of course, like, if he is getting time, which I think he is at this moment, he needs to improve. He really needs to improve as soon as possible, at least get some consistency, more wins. There is a pattern, right? Even in the Everton game, it's the same pattern, I would say, with the games we lost against, like Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Brentford, right? There was a lapse in concentration and error they is considered. So we are having, 60, 70%, 65% possession against these teams. So it's the same pattern. If we understand, and if we now talk about what's the issue, how can it be improved? Of course, we need a striker. That is clear. The way we are playing, even yesterday, with the possession and with the chances we created, right? It's clear that the reason that Chelsea is struggling is because of not scoring goals. This is evident. So we need to address that now in January. We need to get a striker. I don't care right now who that striker is, but we need to get a good striker. And the last thing, to wrap it up, as we are talking about getting experienced players and like doing something different, if I look at, as I looked into the model carefully in the last few days and also before, it is not realistic to change the model. Maybe it could be an exception to get a player and do something different. But if they go for, it's not even about experience. If they go for something that the salary structure would be different, the other players would have an issue sooner or later with that. So it is what it is right now, and we have to deal with that. So the thing is the fan base ready? They have not accepted judgments in the last 4 months. Generally, the fan base are not expecting the reality. And if they are not expecting the reality, and if things will not improve, then I think they have to sack Pochettino.
All right, let's include those in the chat, and I'll come back to Phil in a few seconds here. Colwell left back also saying it hasn't worked, but sometimes you can say in some situations we had no option than to play Kukurea right back and move Kowa to the left back position. But if we have players available who can play in the left back position, he shouldn't be playing there, in my opinion. We have this from Adebayo Makunju, which says experience for next season doesn't guarantee competition, competitive improvement. Remember that most of these players may not become top players. That's the truth. I agree with you. But a lot of them, majority of them will be. It's all again about how we handle them. In my opinion, that's just a fact of life. Next season would also be. I can't just say next season will be a mess. If we do well to, you can say, take corrective measures this particular season, be patient, they will become better next season. But if we in a hurry, I either fear make unnecessary changes like firing the managers, I think he will be an issue. That's when next season will still be an issue. We need to keep these players together. I get it. We can sign 1, 2, 3 players here and there just to balance things out, but making a wholesome change again will be an issue. So we have to stick with what we have. I think even by the time the season ends, I think we'll be in a much better place in terms of how we'll start playing more as a unit. But the manager himself needs to also play certain players consistently, establish a starting 11, not be changing things around, which I don't blame him because injury has led to him not playing with a consistent 11, in my opinion, particular 11 consistently. Hello to you too, Chama. I hope you're doing well. I appreciate you finding the time to join. Coach, Chelsea as his club is too big of a Poch. He cannot handle the pressure. Okay, if that's how you see it, that may well be the case, but I don't think that's the case. Because in my opinion, I know other reasons why I think we are today. Not everyone can do this job. Potter, Lampard, Poch. It's not easy. Yeah, you can argue that. Coach, we understand what the panelists are saying, but we are saying we don't have the time or scope to turn this whole thing around. We have 22 games left. It sounds like the panel are just using a blind faith. No, you said the same thing last season. Last season, you thought we were going to get relegated. At this point, is there mathematically, yeah, we can still get relegated. Do I think we could still get relegated? Do I think it will happen at this point? No. I think we will not get relegated. Yeah, this is more like a preseason. I think we'll have a better season next season, in my opinion. I've always said I don't expect too much of this particular group of players. I don't expect too much of them. I know we will end the season well. How well, I don't know. And I've never argued that we're going to make it into top 4. When people try to get me to say that, I said no. And that's because I know we have an entirely new squad. And with that comes a lot of issues. But unfortunately, a lot of people have you can say, refused to see that because it's Chelsea. Big up to you, to Chimera. I hope you're doing well. Apparently, Gallagher is our best player and it's world class. I wouldn't go to the extent of saying world class, but I'll tell you, given the manager's approach and what he offers to this team, he's the manager's most important player. That's the language I prefer to use. Yeah, big up to you too, the panel and everyone. DJ, nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. If you blame Poch, you know too little about the game. I think I'm with that one, honestly. I would have rather Poch had to deal with big personality signings like Ronaldo and Neymar than have to teach youngsters how to play as a team and have a style of play with inconsistencies. Okay, it makes sense. A big up to you too. Nice to see you, Coach. When you take a wrong turn, do you continue down that path, hoping that you will magically arrive at your destination, or do you turn around? Here's the thing: you're the one calling it a wrong turn. Sometimes I don't think that analogy applies to this case, because if you turn around, getting back to where you started that journey from will be more dangerous than forging ahead and weathering the difficulties and getting to where you're going. Yeah, you can take a wrong turn and find other routes, so to speak, that would lead you to your destination while forging ahead and not turning back. Turning back all the time doesn't work. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That analogy doesn't really apply this time, if you get my point. Another disastrous performance, another weekend of humiliation by Everton out of all teams. Yeah, unfortunately. It is what it is. Kachula, looking at the list of new players. Can we, you name 5 players who are balling right now and have justified their acquisition based on performance so far? Only Cole Palmer, one. Axel Disasi, maybe. You can say not really, none, not that many, and I have to take my time to look at it. Really, we are still spending a lot on wages, signing youngsters that haven't proven they can make it in the Premier League, the hardest league in the world. I think they will come good. The issue isn't that those players aren't good. The issue is that we have more you can say. Is that we have an entirely new squad. That's the biggest problem we're dealing with right now. If we're being truthful, Ian Martin is a good left back, but he sits on the bench. For some reason, the manager doesn't see him as one. I had high hopes for him, and I was thinking that he'd come back and the manager would be starting him over Ben Chilwell, actually, because I see him as a better player than Ben Chilwell, in my opinion. Vic became a member. Vic, thank you so much for becoming a member. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. That will go a long way for the community. And this is, Kachila, tell me why you are convinced that things will improve. Because we've seen progress. I get it. Right now we have issues. We've lost 2 in a row. When we played Man City, I'm quite sure you watched after that game, you felt like, wow, we're making progress. When we drew against Arsenal, yeah, I'm quite sure you felt like, wow, we're making progress. The draw against Liverpool, I'm quite sure you watch it and say, and games we've won, some of the games, how we played, I'm quite sure you looked at them and said, yeah, we're making progress. Yeah, it's just because we've lost 2 games in a row. It's natural that people are reacting the way they're doing. And had we been winning games, people will start, you can say, wins, victories will, you can say, somehow will mask the fact that we had issues. And remember, Roger and I told you guys, even at the time where we were saying that we had the best defensive records, we were pointing out we actually had issues. Had it not been for the brilliance of Sanchez, the situation could have been worse. So the truth is, yeah, we've seen progress, given the fact that we have an entirely new squad. Should we be doing better? Yes, but there are reasons when you look at them. Reece James has come back and he's just played 1.5 games, and he's out injured again. That's a huge problem. Yeah, so if we're considering how the fact that we've had injuries, it hasn't helped. The injuries we've had haven't helped the manager. If we're being truthful, yeah, we actually have made progress. And some of the games we lost, you could argue, are the ones we drew. Had we been clinical in front of goals, had we been more clinical, would be higher up in the table than we are right now. So those are things you have to consider. But right now, yeah, we're regressing. So we need to find a solution. And my biggest concern, I try to be as truthful as I can, is that it's looking like low confidence is gradually creeping in. And if that happens, this season will be no different from last season, and that's because low confidence is a serious issue. And as Adebayo Makanju will always say in the chat, as much as winning can become a habit, losing also can become a habit. That's sort of situation where you'd be winning 2-0 and out of nowhere concede 2 and even one more to lose that game that you led 2-0 from the start. But I hope you get my point right now. So I'm not saying everything is perfect. We should be doing better than we've been doing. And if you've been paying attention to me speak about the team, I've always told you I'm not sure how well we do, but I know we'll finish the season well. And I'm still saying that we will finish the season well. Under Roman, Modric, Mudrick, Colwell, Malukas, Sogalaga, Casado will be in the under 23 squads. Now these players are in the first team. Well, we have to deal with it. That's the way the owners want to go about their business. Could tell me why you are convinced that things will improve? I need evidence. I've explained it to you. Maybe we need to have a private conversation. I've read that one. I think I went back. Tuchel turned us around in 4 months. And with how many changes? Answer that question truthfully. With how many changes in the team, in the squad? And do you like experienced players? With how many experienced players? A lot. Yeah. If we failed to bring some prime players to this team next season, we'll be the same. We'll see. Let's see what the club does. the second should first start with the recruitment team. Some of our signings, my God, are just atrocious. Remember that we have expended a lot. We have a lot of money, and yeah, you can say if you have anything complaints, we have kids, and kids will always be kids. They're still learning, and part of the learning process is the sort of losses we've experienced. Coach, the problem is different because we know of football. We see the positives and the deficiency. That's the truth of Poch so far. Does that give us a confidence of a blind faith? I'm sorry, no, I don't have blind faith. I know we have issues, but I'm telling you, the sacking the manager doesn't help. So you're telling me I don't know football, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Is that what you're saying? No, I don't have blind faith. I'm just telling you that firing Pochettino won't solve our problem. It will compound the issues. It's as simple as that, because we don't have a team that you could say when a new manager comes in, we have a unit already. Then the manager will just change things around the beat, and then the players will be set and ready to go. But now we don't have a unit. We have a team of individual players, talented, yes, but they don't play as a unit yet. Once a new manager comes in, the new manager will start afresh, from scratch, and that's because they have nothing to work with, because Pochettino is just starting with a new squad. Does that make sense now? Even if you think I don't understand football. If we are investing in young stars and we need a time to get everything firing on all cylinders, can the panel recommend which season this same team will win the Premier League? I'd say in 2 years' time from now, 2025. Maybe next season they will become better, but next season they're not going to win the Premier League. But still, I'm going to say this: we still need to add some experience, a leadership, players with character. I think the thing that this team lacks the most is character. They don't have it. It's a mentality issue. They're all talented, believe me, and lots of them will get to become world-class players in the future, but they lack character. And that's a huge issue. It's you can argue mentality issues too. We have to pivot the project, and you will see that in January, irrespective of who's in charge, it is the only way forward. We have to, and the owners, believe me, you can't convince them to do otherwise. The only thing I think I think they will agree that we need more character in the team. We need more experience. I think we've heard also they're willing to sign more experienced players to change things around, to help us to achieve a European place, because they understand the importance of Chelsea playing in the Champions League. That's how you get the big name sponsors. They understand that. So they will sign experienced players here and there, but believe me, they're not going to change the model. So you might as well just just support your team. Coach almost tapped in the issue is not with those players, and then paused to make sure he didn't say it's must just go away. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm saying I'll let you know he's part of the problem too. But predominantly the issues lie with the fact we have an entirely new squad. Yep, we have too many kids, and kids will always be kids. And will take time before they get to that level where they start performing very well. Fans are too reactionary. And Vic, thank you so much once again for becoming a member. Are too reactionary and negative. If we win our next 3 games, yeah, you see that their tone would change. Then if we lose one game, it depends. Depending on who we'll lose to, you see them turn around and finding who to blame. And everyone above us, lose or draw, were easily in top 6. Let's see what happens. McTominay scored a double and got man of the match. Let that sink in. Yeah, he did. Unfortunately. And mind you, fans don't rate McTominay and want him sold in January. Chimera, okay, just having a conversation there. Phil, let's hear you. What do you make of the Pochettino situation? I have a few news items that once I address them, we'll call it a day. I have to go take care of my boy. Let's hear you. Phil, are you there? Did I even add you to the panel? I think I did. Francis, so to speak. Francis, are you there? Francis Dave.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Crystal clear, brother. Let's hear you.
Yes. I wanted to say that we have two type of fan base currently. You know, the fan base who are just used to winning every day, trophies every season, and the fan base who have the patience to wait for the project to improve. But right now, I believe that the fan base dominating Chelsea currently are the fans that are used to just winning in and day in and day out. But the
Mhm.
problem here is that even I've accepted and I've accepted the truth that if you watch every league currently, like for example in Serie A, League 1, who else? What am I missing? Premier League, of course, and then all these other leagues out there. I haven't seen a young squad like Chelsea be on the top four. So for me, when I'm looking at this problem that we have here at Chelsea, it's not like one of the world's biggest problem. For me, I would say to solve these issues, we need to add players with experience. For example, when Raheem Sterling's in the game, he doesn't keep a consistency. But you could tell that with his experience, when he gets the ball, he attacks. He want to make something happen. And then even if you pay attention to how many attackers do we have that are are creating chances or are dangerous in the field, I would say currently we only have like one. Raheem Sterling is doing all the work. As for Modric, he's developing. Nani Madueke, I don't know where he is. Jackson, oh my goodness, that's a second coming of Timo One or something.
Mhm.
And it's just gotten to a point where like we have no attackers. And then since we have a young squad, if you play soccer and if you played the game before, young squad always have a miscommunication because everybody wants to hold the ball more than 3 seconds or more than 1 minute to want to be the hero or to play like this and to play like that. And if you watch the game against Everton, the right place at the right time to release the ball wasn't made because we have young squads. We have young squads. So how do we solve this issue? I would say bring in maybe two or three experienced players. Give me hope. Yes.
All right, let's wait. Phil looks like he's at work. Can we speak? We'll try to see. Let's see if we have much time. I agree. The recruitment strategy is bad. Go ahead, Phil, if you're back.
Yeah, I lost this connection. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I was saying in this Chelsea squad that we have right now, right? We have a good squad, a very, very good talented squad, but they are meant to develop. They are meant to develop and, be world class players. So that means in the process of developing, there will be downfalls and then there will be,
Mhm.
good days. But to support our young squad, we need experience. We need experience because when you look at each and every team, especially in the Premier League, it's kids versus adults. Like even Everton has adults down there. They know what they're doing. They are physical. They are strong, and they are very, very mature. Well, as for us, Chelsea, if you add maybe three experienced players out there, like if you look at Arsenal squad, they have experience at the back, experienced players on the left and on the right, and even in the midfield. And when you look at the attackers, they're young, but these attackers, it took them like 3 to 5 seasons or even six before they were able to be where they are. But we Chelsea, we have an entire squad from the back, from defense to the front, all youngsters, and that is so scary. So scary that if we want to win and we want our players to develop, you add experienced players into the squad. Just like how they put Thiago Silva next to Disasi, and then we started seeing like things were being more calm. And then when you put Disasi and Badua Shield next to each other, the goals that these two defenders concede are goals that are either by mistakes or by misreading the game. So that's all I have to say. We need to add at least three experienced players, one in the defense, one in the midfield, and another attacker in the winger, somebody who could bench Modric. So it's gonna motivate the player to learn and have more also learn from experience from the senior players that we have in the squad.
Yeah, I think here's the thing. It was never going to be perfect. And if anybody, I don't, I'm going to keep repeating this. If you came into the 23-24 season expecting Chelsea to be fighting Los Cylinders, then you must not be paying attention to the fact that we made a wholesome change to the squad. That alone should have let you should with that alone you should know that it was going to be a long season. For me, I'd still say this will actually. I get it. We should be doing much better. I think we'll get there. In my opinion, it will take time, and we have to need to be patient. Hopefully, in January we get a few experienced players and attacker. I agree. Right now, it doesn't matter the profile of the attacker as long as that person can help us do well. Let's get that person in. Whatever area the manager thinks we need reinforcements, let's do that for him until the end of the season. Then we'll assess how he did, and then decide whether we want to keep him or not. I'm going to quickly go through this. We have a few minutes to round off now. We have some news items to address. This team cannot do the basics both defensively and offensively. That's my crux with a Poch. His imprint is non-existent, coupled with his hurried in-game management. I have an issue with the in-game management, in my opinion. But that's an argument for another day. Big talents are easy to sign. Just throw money at them, just like the money we are throwing at youth. It depends on the sort of big talents you want, but I agree with you. Some big talents, if you pay them well enough, they will join you. It doesn't matter if you're 19th or 20th. It's a squad balancing issue. Yep. That I agree with. I think if we can achieve balance, I think we're good. We have some of the best talents in world football right now. We just need to balance things out, and our players stay fit. I think that will make a whole lot of difference, and that includes experience, tenacity, and a zeal to become winners. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this. I don't think Pochettino I don't think he's been perfect. But I'll wait until we'll have every player that I count Chukwuemeka too, because he's shown that he can hold his own in this particular team or squad. If he comes back and Kunku comes back, Lavia comes back, then if the manager comes across as clueless with regards to what player plays in what position and what his best 11 is, then I'll start judging him. I like when I judge people, I'll be showing them receipts. But right now, I don't think, given the issues we've had with injuries and the fact that we have an entirely new squad, I don't think it makes sense to pin the whole thing on him, in my opinion. Coach, I have to respect your devotion. You are putting in so much effort to educate the fan base. You're correct. And patience is required. Respect your devotion. 3 more losses and Poch is in trouble. I think it depends. If we lost, let's say even the next 2 games, his situation, he'll be under pressure. I get it. The owners, they're saying that they're still not looking at firing him. They'll wait till the end of the season. And I haven't seen the obvious signs that the manager's job is in danger. When you hear the manager saying, the owners back me, I've spoken with them, they back me, they're 100% behind me, then that's a bad sign. I did say that when Potter started speaking in that manner, but right now I think his job is still safe. It's not been that bad. As bad, it could be worse off. Yeah, we could have been worse off, in my opinion. But where we are today, not exactly where we want to be, but still, we need to do better. Enzo Casado et al., who are already full internationals, don't know what to do with the ball. Well, I personally don't aid mediocrity. So it's whose job to instill core football basics in a team. Stop it. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this also. It doesn't matter how good they are. The fact that they need time to gel, bed in maybe, or start playing as a unit, it still also could lead to a considerable extent us not being able to see the best of those players. My last comment: if we start from Mudryk and we lose the match by default, wow, Mudryk is actually one of our better players on against our. He was one of our better players against Everton, in my opinion. Doku, Vadio, Foden, Haaland, Foden, okay, Alvarez, all youth kids too, but they have adults in their base. Yep, balance. Walker, Akanji, Disasi, Rodri, and Ederson. That makes sense. Coach, I am going to have to relabel you Brown Envelopes Merchant instead of Tapping Merchant. Coach is on the board, I swear. I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm trained to be as objective as possible. Sometimes I can be a bit biased. But right now, I'm telling you the truth. The manager is the list of our problems right now. Yeah, because you can have a bad squad. I don't know how it's. Let me just move beyond that. I get it. Level me whatever you want. Nobody is saying go with the go win the Premier League tomorrow. Yeah, we are saying at least be in the eighth position. Is that possible? Last season you should have known when we talked about when we mentioned how Newcastle have joined the big boys. Other teams this season actually have joined the big boys. They have money and are doing well. So it's going to be difficult to get there, and especially us. We don't have a unit yet. We don't have a team. We'll have a bunch of individual players not playing as a unit quite yet. So let that sink in, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Your strikers and wingers will not score yet. See the ball. If the midfield is dysfunctional, it's as simple as that. Collington saying our problem is more than just a youth and inexperience and squad. It is also the inept medical department that they've changed. So we're recruiting in nurses, bro. They gave the armband to Gallagher. My guy Silva will be gone soon. Yeah. Aren't you here already? I think you should be part of the group. I called it in the post earlier in the week. We were going to be beat up by by Everton. They are on the up. Look organized. Everything we earned. They are everything we earned. We had a chances though, but same problem. Yeah, we need to improve in so many ways. I think that's by the way. I'm gonna go to Bobby. We have a few news items to address here. Let's see, and then let's go through them. Bobby, if you have anything to say with regards to any of them, I know you've talked about Rhys James. We have a few minutes around of here. Rhys James hopes to have minimized any damage by coming off as soon as he felt the problem. He's set to undergo scans on his injured hamstring. So we'll find out what that is. I'm concerned about him. This here also states. Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
I'm not even listening to it anymore.
Mhm.
He's never going to give us back-to-back games. That's the conclusion. Reece, we've lost our captain and vice captain this season for significant amount of games. Who survives that? Who? Who? We're lucky to even be where we are. I don't think there's any question of Pochettino being under threat at the moment. There's no basis for it. The threat is
Mhm.
in the fan base. It can't be in the ownership because the guy hasn't had a team to work with. All the players are flipping injured. He hasn't. And you don't have a captain, you don't have a vice captain. As far as I'm concerned, we need to, yeah, he'll stay as captain for whenever he's around, but we need another captain, certainly another vice captain. It has to be Gallagher and another. The people that are around. This is a learning season. I can't see how anybody can see it any other way. There are no miracles to be done here. There is always a process, and as you rightly said, even if we had Messi, Vinicius Junior, Modric, whoever, Rudiger, all the best players in the world, all at one time in this team, it would still take them time. They would still struggle. Why? Because they're all new to each other. This is common sense. Common sense. I wasn't surprised we were going to lose to Everton. Remember on this platform, I said, hey, hang on a minute. I'm not sure of that, this one at all. We'll be lucky to get out of there with anything without getting a hiding. As it was, we did well for ourselves, just that we can't finish. And just as Jeri Z said, the obvious thing is that we need a striker, maybe even two. Who knows? But all I know is that right now, patience is the only thing for fans. We just go into games being patient, hoping that Poch, with what he has, he's able to do something. I mean, you mentioned Martin. Well, Martin is going to be playing left back now because there's no Cucurella and there's no Chilwell, so it's all his. And Poch played him there against Everton. So it's chop and change constantly because of injuries, because of players trying to find fitness. Brozier still isn't fit, and he's just back from injury. It's going to be a long season, guys, and our expectations have to be completely blunted That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't critique the manager. We have every right to do so. But when you do so constructively, and make sure that your criticism of the manager, the players, isn't driven by you. You can say when emotions are running high, when you can't think. You can say when you can't think correct. And that's the same with lots of Chelsea fans that I know. We're winning. You hear them say we're back. Wow, this Chelsea team is going to be great. We'll be fearsome in a few months. And then when we lose 1-2 games, they come back again to finding who to blame. The owners, the manager, it's this person.
Exactly.
We're not just being truthful to ourselves. I'm not saying Pochettino is imperfect. I'm not saying that's the best we can do. But right now, my argument is that if you fire him, it will only compound the situation. It won't make any sort of sense. And I'm gonna make my points clear again. One, we don't have
We
a
need
unit
time,
yet.
Coach.
We don't have a unit yet. It was easy for Tuchel because we had the unit before he arrived. We didn't make too many changes. Right now, Pochettino is still trying to get this guys to play as a unit. Any other manager that comes in will start from there also, because Pochettino hasn't done the job for them. So you said they'll just come and take over and the team will start firing. All they have to do is just implement their preferred approach. No, the issues will persist, in my opinion. Glad your son is okay after the hospital trip. Thank you so much for remembering that. Some good news. There's not one on the pitch. I understand that, but thank you so much for remembering that, Peter. Coach will flip flop when we lose to Sheffield United. You're acting like you don't know me. I make, you could say, informed decisions. Even but when at the time when I decided Potter wasn't the man, yeah, I was so sure he wasn't the man. When I decided, it took time, but once I said I don't think he was the man, I meant it. And when I said I'm not, I think I changed to it's not working, and I knew at the time he was going to lose his job. Hiring Frank Lampard, I didn't want that. I knew that was a bad decision. But that's just me. I make informed decisions. I don't just jump into deciding that this is the case when I haven't actually thought about it carefully. But let's see. Maybe I will free flop on that. It depends on what I see. Keeper and a striker are a priority unless Nkunku comes back soon and fires. Yep. Whether we sign a striker in January, no matter how anybody sees it, comes down to how well this guy's doing in January by the time we get to January. But we'll find out. Nkunku should make a difference. It should convert more chances, and Lavia should do better in terms of playing of fulfilling the DM role. Coach is most pragmatic as long as you don't name Kukurea or Koulibaly. Nkunku is another injury prone player. You could argue that's the case until proven otherwise. People should be aware of this. Poch simply wanted to kill Nkunku with all his hysteria. Let's see. That the Silva and Sterling are the only experienced players we have. We have left. Okay, people getting Johnny Mineros, but a lot of what he said is coming to fruition. These owners are taking our club backwards, but nobody wants to call them out. Here's the thing. You can say he's right, and he has every right to see it like that. Do I blame the owners for where we are today? Partly, but I can't say their intent is to take the club back. And in terms of Johnny's opinions, he's full of it. Tell him I said that, and I don't care what he thinks of me.
Okay,
Do
can
I
I
think
add to this, please, Coach?
the owners haven't been perfect, but they've made mistakes, and beyond their mistakes, where we're at right now isn't solely they're making. We started struggling under Thomas Tuchel. Did you on the Roman Abramovich even before they bought the club? But go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say, this specialty in attacking the ownership, I don't support it. I find it tedious and I'm disappointed. What do you expect an ownership to do? Chelsea had to have new ownership. People have such short memories because the former owner that everybody is worshipping now was kicked out of the club for reasons whoever knows. We had to have new ownership. These guys were vetted by the former owner and were given the club by the former owner. So, what are we talking about? Sometimes people just like to complain and they want to, the need to be right. They will continue down a path and keep on and on and on with the hope that there will be a failure on the part of the ownership so they can turn around and say, "Oh, I told you so. I was saying this at this and this time at this time." I'm disappointed. That's all I'll say. And I don't support that approach. I don't see it as progressive. I just don't see the point. It doesn't help anybody. It just gives credence to the gripe merchants, to those that are just as you said. When we win, it's like, oh, we're going to rip up trees. We're going to win the World Cup tomorrow. And when we lose, it's like out with the coach, out with the players, out with the ownership. It's pathetic. We need time. We need patience. We need objective reasoning. Yes, you can criticize performances. There are times we've lost, and we sit here and we say, yeah, such and such player could have done better. That's fine. But some of the ridiculous, hysterical, trigger happy, emotional things that are coming across is to me is pathetic. Really. Sorry, coach, I had to get that
Yep,
in.
yep, yep. And I would say maybe the majority of Chelsea fans are just greedy. They act like selfish people sometimes. Where when we go through the trenches, every coach that will come into Chelsea has to get sacked. Like we don't need that right now.
I
We do
love
not
that
need.
term.
We need to
When when we go
construct.
through the sorry to cut when we
Yeah, no
go
problem.
through the trenches, I love that because that's when you look for your brothers to stand beside you. Thank you for that statement, coach. Mark it as one of your statements of the day. Sorry to cut in.
I pick one up every day, right? Let's say you feel we're used to saying something, but quickly let me catch up here. The players will not develop at the same pace.
I
Jackson may
really
take a three.
apologize for cutting in. I really, really, because he was saying something so good. I'm sorry. Very, very sorry.
You're
No
okay.
worries.
You're okay.
Go ahead, Francis. Go
Yes,
ahead
yes.
quickly. We
I
have a few
was. I
minutes to
wanted
round
to
off
also
here.
include that. I'm kind of like nervous about this in Nkuku return when we speak about Nkuku will come into the squad and then he will help the squad like this and like that. I'm starting to even feel that this guy is not up to the Premier League fitness because he hasn't even played a single game since when August. And when you pay attention to the Premier League, it is physical and it's very pacey. Gallagher's pace and strength, that is the Premier League, man. We need players that
Mhm.
could run and have that amount of strength. And when you pay attention to Nkuku, who plays as a number 10 role, he is now going box to box to run front and backwards and at the same time defend. This Premier League has gotten tougher and tougher and tougher. We need to start paying attention to our squad. And let's talk about Levia, our number 6 or DM. I think that's his name. On his first
Talking
debut,
about Lavia, Romeo
Lavia.
Lavia.
Yeah, on his first debut, we all remember what happened to Caicedo on his first debut. And then until like it took Caicedo like 3 to 4, 5 games before we started to see he's calming down. And even up to today, we still haven't seen this guy dribble or be on the opposition box to create some crazy chances or anything like that. So we Chelsea fans, we need to look our squad and open our eyes and realize that the reality here is none of our players are even up to the standard right now. They just need support. That's what fans are for. So when Chelsea is struggling, and then we come here and say, kick this guy out of the club, this guy's not good enough, in a hard moment of when you need support and your own fans tears you down, we're going to end up being a football club that nobody want to go and play for. Because in this hard time, we need to show
Because when
support.
this, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. So I don't think Olivier is just gonna come into the squad and 3 5 games. Oh my gosh, he's so incredible. No, our squad, our starting 11 cannot even keep consistency already. So what makes us think that a player that hasn't featured one game, not even a preseason, is just gonna come into in the middle of January or February and make us look like Barcelona or prime Chelsea? Like it's not gonna happen. We just gonna go through the same process of he needs to get used to the squad and he needs to catch up to his fitness, including in Nkuku. So we in the trenches right now. We just need to support the squad and celebrate each and every goals that we score. We need to go back to them days where we score a goal because that's what we need right now. Everybody is down. With James down. Where's Chilwell? Where is Cucurella? Our squad is all completely down, and we don't even have a squad depth. Who do we have in the bench? Nobody. So this January transfer, we need to get things right and show support. And we fans, we need to show support to our players. So our players have to wake up one morning and open that social media and see, come on, come on, Blues, keep pushing, keep working hard, instead of opening that social media to demons on there, talking all negativity on them and things like that. Like that's so pathetic. That's all I have to say.
All right, no problem. Let me catch up. I think we have to call it a day. I have about just 4 minutes to get help my boy, take care of my boy. They're saying the players will not develop at the same time. Yeah, players develop at different paces. Yeah, we'll all learn. It's no different from learning. Players' development is no different from how at the pace that each of us learn. We learn at different paces. Some it takes them time to comprehend something. Some they just like this comprehend whatever you're trying to tell them. 2 years, while Nani may never reach his heights, it's too much of a gamble. Yep, I agree with you. I'm also open to selling Reece James to Madrid. If they want, they can come and collect them. I'm quite sure they're not going to come take him. They're seeing what's going on. They're not going to risk it. Probably still, you could say, haven't forgotten about how much they paid us for. What's his name? Eden Hazard. You could argue that, but he's still young. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to go to. I agree. James and Chilwell are not going to play regularly, so we need to replace them. I'm not going to jump to the conclusion of saying we need to replace them. If they're gonna become a liability, maybe we should sell them. But if we can find a way to get them to learn how to manage themselves, take better care of themselves, especially James. So from what I've heard and I learned, I think from Francis himself, he's overweight. 200 and something pounds, a football player. To me, that's an issue. Or maybe he should start from there. But I'm not a doctor by any stretch of imagination. Let's see what else we have here. All English boys captain lineup: James, Chile, Gallagher, Cowell, and you think Pochettino made that call? Oh yeah, I think he did. In my opinion, there are better ways to spend 1 billion in 18 months. Ask Abramovich, but times have changed. When he started, FFP at the time doesn't exist. I think it's going to be, and given how many players we lost, we needed to spread out our spending to make sure we recruit in a manner that will reinforce. Again, we'll have a reinforcement for all the departments that we lost players at the time. So it was never going to be that simple at the time. If we're being honest, I think we're just looking at things at the surface level and concluding that we should have done things this way, the other way, and could have been better off had we done things a certain way. Can someone tell me who made those substitutions and selected the starting lineup? Just asking. He did. And that's why I've told you, believe me, he's made mistakes too. I'm just saying the whole thing shouldn't fall on him. He's made mistakes. The owners have made mistakes in terms of recruitment, but we just have to weather it out. Honestly, I have about just a minute to round off. I have to go take care of my boys. As he gets better, we can go longer. Sterling needs to start every game. Okay, if that's what you think. It's losing to Sheffield United is unthinkable. It's football. Anything can happen. On paper, we should be winning that game hands down. Do I think it will happen? I don't know. We don't want to be a long season, Bobby. Nobody wants it to be that. Not the manager or the owners. If we continue this way, we will damage any sense of courage left in the team, and that's an issue. Low confidence and destroy some players in the process. That's why we need to start winning games. The manager needs to change things around, start winning games as soon as possible, because these are young players. I'm not sure if they lose so many games in a row, it would be difficult to come back from it. What pains me the most is how we spent 1 billion and injury-prone Broya and finish Jackson as our lead in the line. That's right. There is enough rage in my life. Incompetent and useless recruiting. And you have every right to argue that. And Tony says we needed to get behind Poch. There's really no one else out there that will accept the job. Yep. I mean, you've said it all. How long is Sanchez out for? I don't know. Sheffield United have a new manager bounce, and they've been doing well of late. Yep. What are the results? What are the results we are expecting this week? The team doesn't do the fundamentals. It's not always about the quality of players. Yep, I think I agree with you. We have a lot not going our way. I hope we don't have to bring back a lawyer. Jokers. If we get a point deduction and relegation, at least we might win a game. Yeah, I know, but I won't go that far right now. But the Brighton coach sold. How many of them did he sell? If we're being honest, how many of them did he sell? Not as many as we sold. If that's what you want to argue, they are playing good football. Let's call it the way it is. Poch isn't the right coach for Chelsea. I'm quite sure that's what you wanted to say. Thomas Tuchel won us trophy. I agree. My point when I'm quite sure you're referencing, responding to one of my comments where I said the issue started under Thomas Tuchel. Yeah, we finished the season badly after. I'm not saying, and I wanted to. I'd say if Thomas Tuchel wants to come back right now, I say bring him back. That's besides my point. My point was that the issue we had at the time started under Thomas Tuchel. And it wasn't his fault. It was the players' fault. The same players, that was when he said same players, same issues. So we started the new ownership started with those the crop of players we had under Thomas Tuchel at the time, and the issue persisted. And that was why many Chelsea fans started calling for a clear out and referencing Thomas Tuchel's comment. Same players, same issues. So I'm not saying if anybody, I don't think anybody, and I don't think any Chelsea fan loves Thomas Tuchel more than I do. Yeah. So that's beside the point. I get it. We're all frustrated. I'm not saying he was the reason why we were struggling at the time. It was the players. Yeah. Blame the war. You could. Yeah, that's another way to start too. So I expect the owners to not try and beat Roman's record of hiring and firing, especially within 18 months. They will. That changes. The moment they get the right person, the right person will stay longer than we've ever seen a manager stay at Chelsea Football Club. There already has been a failure on the part of the owners. 2 bad managers in a row. Yeah, blame them for that. They hired them. Poch and Todd B. Okay, Ibali and the players' problem. Yep, not a single. You can't say look at one thing and say that's just the reason why we're struggling. Big up all the fair weather fans and glory hunters. Yeah, only when we win. There are Chelsea fans. They call the fans at Real Madrid greedy. They're not. But here's still something else. I'm going to say this. I've talked about that before. I want us to round off. I don't have too much time now. People are crying that we pulled out of the deal of Hendrick deal. We didn't pay £16 million for, how old is he again? I can't quite remember. Even if we signed them, had we signed Hendrick, people would still be complaining we signed too many young players. Yeah, this is something Real Madrid have been doing for years. They they get young players at a very, very early stages of their career and nurture them. But the fact is we need experience, and I agree with that. I'm not saying that we shouldn't blame the owners, blame them, but we should do that, you can say, objectively, and not say everything is down to them. No, something else happened before they became the owners. And players wanted to leave, and they had to sell them. Players that jumped ship. And I'm never going to forgive those players, no matter what you say is the reason why they had to leave Chelsea. At least when we get relegated, we will get rid of all the fake fans. That one that you mentioned. I don't want to promote her here. So none of you believe we need experience. I think you joined the conversation late. That's why you're fighting us, DJ. We need experience. We all agree to that. Bobby, you know me well. I have been a fan since the 80s. I have seen bad times, bro, and good times. We all agree we need experience, and emotions are running high right now, but I understand where you're coming from. Let me trigger a new interesting topic. One word for Petrovic. Not a good start for him. Not a good start for him. I think we should be done by right now. I'm 5 minutes late. One is not doing well. One has to go to school. Unfortunately, for me, I have to stop to handle that. Our players need experience. We agree. We all agree to that, to help them, because all our fan base are going to do is complain. I guarantee if Nkunku does not hit the ground running straight away, he will get slandered too. It's a Chelsea thing, unfortunately. So I want to say thank you to all of you for finding the time to join the show. Unfortunately, I have to go right now, and we've been streaming for 2 hours and 34 minutes. That's not easy. I want to say thank you to Bobby. Thank you to Francis, and thank you to Jeri Z for finding the time to join the show. Unfortunately, somebody wants to join us on the panel, but I didn't see the comments on time, and I think you've been part of the group, except if you left at one time, I had to add you back again today. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Bobby. And thank you, Mr. Troublemaker. Thank you, Vic. I appreciate you joining. Thank you, DJ Sooth. Thank you, Chelsea. Thank you, Chimera. Thank you, Chelsea Michi Boy. Please, if you haven't, go check out the Chelsea Michi Boys YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe and let him know I sent you. And he said, bye, chat panel. He has a show coming up, and be sure to go check it out. And I have my bro that I don't like right now. He's my enemy. The Blue Tiff game. Much love to you, brother. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. We have Tony and all of you. And if I missed your name, apologies. I'm only human. See you guys next time. And bye.